Deputy Police Commissioner Anthony Murphy, the commanding officer of the General Investigations Unit, Lieutenant Christopher Hurl, and these are the detectives who worked on this case. We've called this press conference in follow-up to the EMS incident early Sunday morning, January 9th, at 345 Main Street, involving a 2-year-old child with a serious head injury who was transported to South Shore Medical Center and pronounced dead shortly after his arrival there. The medical examiner has determined that the cause of death was a fracture to the back of the skull caused by blunt force trauma of the body, with fractures to the skull and ribs, contusions to the brain, and certified the death as a homicide. The evidence and information we have leads us to believe that the child's father, Richard Leak, age 30, forcefully struck the child's head against a hard surface, fracturing the child's skull and causing his death. Mr. Leak has been arrested and was charged earlier this morning with murder second. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, Bob Merle, WVOX. I don't know that it relates specifically to this, but were not those the original reasons why the child was taken away a year and a half ago? I mean, it doesn't pertain to your police department, but that the child had bleeding in his lungs and his brain, and broken ribs.
In February 2009, the child was brought into South Shore Medical Center and with injuries, fractured ribs, I believe, and a broken leg, broken femur. And the medical professionals determined that it appeared to be, to them, evidence of child abuse. When the child was released from the hospital, was placed in foster care by by Child Protective Services.
Do we know if the mother was home at the time of all this?
To the best of our knowledge, the mother was not home. The mother had gone to South Shore Medical Center shortly. Was experiencing some respiratory difficulty and was at the hospital when, to the best of our knowledge, this incident occurred.
Is the mother facing any charges?
No.
And do we believe that the second child, is there any relation with abuse with Richard Leak, with the child that was in the hospital?
Excuse me? With
the second child, the child that was in the hospital the day that the mother went, do you suspect that that child may have been abused by Richard Leak?
We have no evidence of that at this time.
So why was he with the child? Was he babysitting the child? Why was he with the child?
He's the father of the child.
But hadn't the child been taken away from him?
The child was returned to
I see.
In June 2010.
Can you give us any, I don't know if Mr. Leak has said anything about what was going on that day? Was the kid acting out? I mean, he just...
Well, the original report was that the child had fallen off the sofa and hit its head on the floor.
Describe, Captain, a little bit about the problems you guys had, I guess, with that story, or what was the delay in Sunday to today's arrest in terms of what you guys were waiting for?
Well, we were waiting on the medical examiner's report and some other things that we wanted to do to complete our investigation.
You said he struck his head against a hard surface. That hard surface would be what?
Undetermined at this point.
Was there an arrest made in the original incident when the child was taken away of the father?
No.
Since being returned to the family, had you guys been out there for anything? Had there been any calls from neighbors or any?
We have no other reports of disturbances, requests for police service at the residence during that period of time.
Is the other child going to be removed from the home?
That would be up to the Child Protective Services.
When is Mr. Leak due back? When is he going to be in court?
I believe Thursday. Next Thursday. Do we have a date on that, Lieutenant?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Time? 9:30?
Court opens at 9:30.
Is the other child related to Mr. Leak?
Yes.
Does he have any prior history or any other criminal activity?
He does have a criminal arrest record.
For
a variety of offenses, ranging from burglary, possession of controlled substances, assault.
Assault on a
adult.
Captain, can you kind of take us a walk through as best as you know, what happened here that night? Starting from the mother took the kid, the younger kid, to the hospital. He was in the house. Was Leak in the house alone with this kid with his oldest son when this happened?
To the best of our knowledge, he was in the house alone with the victim. And called the mother at the hospital. The mother relayed her the call to a neighbor who went up to assist Mr. Leak with the injured child.
And
Sorry.
so any idea how long he was alone with the ballpark figure? How long he was alone with the kid before this happened?
A period of about an hour.
I don't know.
Just wondering, the medical examiner came to these conclusions. I know that when the judge sent the child back the first time, she, I believe, concluded that this could have been the result of previously existing conditions. Do you know if they were considered?
I can't, I really can't comment on a decision of the family court.
No, okay, thank you.
Can
It's
you
just, I
describe-
found it odd that the kid had, spontaneously combusting ribs.
I can't, as I
Yeah,
said,
no.
I can't comment on the deliberations or any decisions of the family court.
Can you describe what happened? Was the child thrown? Was he hit?
No, we believe that that Mr. Leak struck the child's head against the hard surface.
Have there been any previous arrests in the last 2 years at this address?
Excuse me?
Have there been any arrests in the last 2 years at this address?
Run that.
At this address, 345 Main Street, have in the last 2 years?
345 Main
have there
Street
been other
is
problems
a
there?
housing complex. So we have, no arrests of Mr. Leak that I'm aware of, that residence.
When you say he struck his head, in other words, he sort of threw the child, or he didn't hit the child with something, he threw the child into something?
Well, our information leads us to believe that he struck the child's head against the hard surface. Physically took the child and struck his head against the hard surface.
Do we know any reason why?
No.
Was the kid sick? Was the kid in pretty good shape before this happened?
I believe that the child had other ailments, and I believe there's some evidence of other physical abuse.
What is the child's name?
Khalil. That's Khahil. Leak. Leak.
So that means that the medical examiner's report turned up some further evidence of past child abuse with this kid?
The medical examiner reports only documents the cause of death.
Right, but you said there's some evidence of physical abuse you're talking about.
There was past physical abuse.
Bob Cox, talking to the Sound. This morning when he was arrested, how did that occur, and did he respond in any way to the news of his arrest, and did he make any comments?
Well, he was brought in for further questioning last night and was, after that questioning was arrested and arraigned this morning.
And did he give any comment about anything related to?
I can't disclose any,
Okay.
Any admissions, any confession, or any, anything related to comments he might have made.
Yeah.
You said you don't know, there's no motive or reason for why this might have happened, correct? You don't know why, what prompted him to hit the kid?
Did they make did they make any determination as to his Mr. Leak's condition that night in terms of drug impairment or alcohol impairment?
Whose condition?
Mr. Leak.
Mr. Leak? No, we've made no determination on that.
Can you tell a little bit more about his past arrests? How old is he? 20?
30.
He's 30 years old, and he's been arrested for burglary, criminal possession of controlled substance, and assault against an adult.
An adult.
Was that adult his wife?
No.
Did he do any time for these? Or?
I believe he did a year for the assault. I don't have any sentencing information on any of the other offenses.
Any
Was
reaction?
sentenced to a year for assault. I don't know if he actually served the full year.
Any reaction to this case at all? I mean, it seemed to be closed pretty quickly.
No, that's it. We made the arrest. You know, as I said, we believe that he caused the death of the child.
And the charges against him and what he faces?
Murder second.
In light of the kid being killed, he thinks it was a bad idea for the kid to be put back, taken out of foster home and be put back with this family.
I'm not going to comment on it. Right?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, if anybody wants,
One last
is
question.
interested in you.
Who has the youngest kid now, the mother?
The youngest child, no, the youngest child is being held by a child protective services.
Oh, so the CPS has the youngest
Yes.
kid.
And how old is that child?
6 months, I believe. 6 months.
Spell your first name for me.
Joseph.
Just-